Hey, my lovelies, it's me, author Alexandrian Fonte, coming to you with a new review. So now it is Friday. And remember, Friday is normally a all for anyone. Okay, so we normally do regular, well, I won't say regular, but mainstream. I won't even say mainstream. We normally do everything. So if you are a sci-fi author, a military author, a suspense author, mystery, horror, basically anything other than romance is a Friday. Anything goes. So we pretty much do most of our regular fiction authors on Fridays. So that is the day that we, do everything. So now, normally that's what we do, but tonight, because of the fact that we skipped a day, um, we're like we're missing some time here. So basically, the days that we would normally do that, we're going to skip that today because of the fact that I actually did we skipped that day, so we didn't do Monday, and then Tuesday we came back, and then Wednesday we did a romance, and then Thursday we did another romance, but we didn't do mainstream, so we're kind of messed up. So tomorrow we will be doing a mainstream Caucasian author, which would normally be a YA day, but because of the fact that we don't actually have a YA right now, so we're going to skip YA Sunday and we're going to do a regular mainstream Caucasian author tomorrow. Also, Jin wanted me to make it a point to let you guys know that now I do from time to time, because you hear me, I come on here and will tell you that I actually bought an author's book, because I like to support indie authors as well, because I am one. Well, Jin isn't, and so someone, I guess, sent her an email about having their book reviewed on the channel. And now I have said, like, a bunch of times that I don't mind buying a book, but Erica and Jen are a little bit different. They kind of feel like if you want your book reviewed, then the least you should do is send it to them for free. That's not me. Okay, I don't. If an author says, "Hey, would you buy my book and review it?" 9 times out of 10, I won't have an issue with that. Especially for authors like I already have on my Kindle. I love reviewing them, which is probably what I'm gonna go back to doing too, because like I found some gems like that. Ophelia Bell, I freaking loved her book. It was so good. Siren Allen, I loved her book. Kenya Wright, those book I mean, MJ, I still talk about MJ and the fact that she was hysterically funny and had me dying. And so if it's an author that 9 times out of 10, that will, solicit me and ask me to buy their book, and if it's not too expensive, because I am frugal, y'all. If it's not too expensive and if it doesn't cost more than my books, then I will totally buy a book, because I want to support authors too. But the problem is, Jen and Erica don't feel that way. They don't feel the same way. They feel like if you're going to ask them for a review, then the least you could do is subscribe. I mean, send them the book. So an author asked for their book to be reviewed, and when she sent the person the email to say, "Oh, hey, you didn't attach the book," that person sent a link to the book and told her, "Oh yeah, you can go buy it." And so Jen's like, "No, that doesn't work for me." So basically, just a little shout out to all of you authors out there who want us to review your book. If you're not sending it to me, Alexandrian Fonte, you remember I told you guys my genres. I don't do horror. I don't do street lit. I don't do Christian or self help. Those are not my genres. But if you are a mystery author, suspense, ooh, yes, mystery and suspense, I would love to read a good mystery. So if you're out there and you're a mystery writer, send your work in, please. Suspense, paranormal of any kind, vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters, uh, fae, gods, anything intellectual and mythology based too, this is your girl right here. And little tiny tops of horror. Like I really enjoyed Cynthia Noble's book. That book was really really good, and it was horror, but she didn't throw like crazy type Haunting of Connecticut type horror in there. I can't do that, so don't send that to me because I will not read it. I'll be in the house like the power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. No, don't send that to me. Also, basically, if you are any of those genres and it's light horror, then send that to me. And 9 times out of 10, if it's a good week, I will buy your book. I will have no qualms buying your book. But Erica and Jen just wanted me to put it out there for you guys. If you're going to ask them to review your book, please supply your book, and don't just randomly send them links and tell them, yeah, you could buy it here. She felt like that. Jen's very sensitive. I'm a New Yorker, so I don't care. I would have just been like, look, Trick, you better send me that book if you want. No, just joking. But Jen was like really offended. And so she just felt like that was rude because the person was like, yeah, well, my week has been very busy and I really haven't had the time. But here's the links. You can go buy the book. And so she said she was just like, oh, no, thank you. I will not be reviewing your book then. So just a little heads up to you guys. And so pretty much that's pretty much on it on that subject. Now, as an author, I have been an author for 9 years, like I've told you guys, and I've done Facebook sponsors where I will take a new author and basically just really promote them to other authors. In the past, it was like I had a Facebook group that I had for 5 years, and that was one of my main things, showing indie authors love. The only problem with that is I never got the love back myself. Like no one ever they never invited me to like IR romance conferences. There were several authors that I actually put on the map, because their like PA or something would send me a message and be like, oh, can you put them in your group? Can you put them here, there, blah, 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 blah. And like I did takeovers, and I would, feature these authors that were never, were pretty much unknown. And the crazy part is that now it's like, one of them, she's bigger than me, and so I'm not bitter about that because she is an amazing person. She's so sweet. She still talks to me now, so I don't have an issue with that. The only thing that I did have an issue with, and I got over it, was the fact that they never returned the love. And so that's kind of why I started this channel, for those, for the authors that do return the love, the authors that do support each other, and the authors that do have, they do their thing. Like I will start the review in a minute, but I just kind of wanted to get this off my chest. I'm doing the book FOMO thingy, and basically they have a lot of promos where you can join the promo. Come on, you're paying like serious bucks to get in on this. Just for the one that I did, it's $250 a year. And so you're paying like serious bucks to get in this and get your books out there and get readers to find them. And so I clicked on for one of the paranormal, promo spots, where basically you join the promo and then they give you links and then you have to promote them, and basically the link is a tracker. And so I have a specific cover for my Teaching Between Midnight and Dawn series. Each cover is different because of the fact that it entails something different. So the first book is werewolf. The second book is vampires. The third book is warlocks. The fourth book goes back to werewolves. The fifth book goes to vampires. The sixth book goes to gargoyles. The seventh book goes back to vampires. The eighth book goes to shaman. The ninth book goes to Celtic gods. The 10th book goes to hybrids. The 11th book goes to progenitors, the people who basically started all of these races. The 11th book, I'm sorry, the 12th book. The 12th book goes to shapeshifters. The 13th book goes back to everything because there's a lot of crossover books in there. And then the 14th book goes back to the Egyptians where it started because basically Ariana is the descendant of As and Osiris. And so the 14th book goes back to that and we revamp. So basically, after the arc, because there is a specific prophecy that needs to be taken place, and so it does in all 14 of those books. And now for book 15, we revamp and we start anew. So each book has a different cover. And my whole point in all of that was to say I got a message from the promoter who was promoting the paranormal promo for next month. She sent me a message and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we removed your book because your cover wasn't professional enough." And it kind of like hurt my heart. Not so much about my cover because the book is a freebie promo anyway, which is one of the reasons why I decided to put it into her thingy. And so the book has gotten 590 few views. 90 few. My daughter would die. The book has gotten 593 views. And it's been downloaded 430 times. So, obviously, 430 people didn't have an issue with that cover. They liked the cover and they liked the story. So this is what pisses me off about this genre and this field. Because people like that, elitists who think they're better than everyone else, they pretty much look down their nose on other authors instead of saying, going back, I'm a teacher. Come on, for God's sake. I've been teaching. I've been a professor. Well, I've been teaching for 8 years and I've been a professor for 6.5. I teach literature, art history, and mythology at the college level. So there's not, you can tell me about those. I'm a pretender basically. I have 4 different careers and basically whenever I feel like it, I make sure my licenses are up. And when I feel like, hey, you know what, this year I think I want to be an executive chef. I'm a Sagittarius, okay? If you know anything about Sagittarius, we can't stay in one place. We always have to be, we are basically the majority of the time considered irresponsible. And it's not that we're irresponsible, it's just that we just like difference. We can't stay stagnant. And so this is why I jump all over the place. And then once my daughter goes to college, there's no freaking where I won't go. I am kind of looking for a husband though to go with me. No, seriously, I'm true, but anyway. And so I just kind of felt like that elitist attitude like that is what keeps indie authors down. And they basically sabotage themselves. And it's like we eat ourselves in this indie genre and we regurgitate it out and we do it over and over and it's a cycle. And then the authors that are basically traditionally published, they look down their nose on indie authors when I have read some effing indie authors who are better than mainstream authors. It's just 9 times out of 10 you got the break that they didn't. Or they wanted to stay true to themselves and their writing, so they didn't want to basically sell out to some corporate, sponsorship that was going to rip them and their work to shreds and then put out some cookie cutter BS that is basically following the masses of sheep. And so they decided to go indie. So it's attitudes like that. And I really felt like She could have come at me so many ways different than that if she didn't like the cover. And then the old adage holds true: do not judge a book by its cover. Just because you didn't like it, obviously 435 other people did. So that's the kind of BS that I'm talking about. And that is the main reason why I started this channel, to give indie authors the spotlight that many of them so richly deserve. So richly deserved, but they don't get it because elitists like that think that we're pretty much crap and that we write crap. So, but they forget about people like the dude who wrote Hemlock Grove and so many other indie authors who basically got their break, but they were indie first. So, anyway, I'm sorry. It just really pissed me off. And so I wanted to talk about it because I just thought it was wrong. The email that she sent me, there were so many other kind of ways she could have sent that. You know, she could have even made up an excuse, would technically to me would have been better and would have had more decorum to it. And it would have been more humane. You know, you don't just send someone an email like that. But anyway, okay. So anyway, and my whole point was, before I went on the tangent, is that I sponsored a lot of authors during my Facebook days, and so there were a lot that I know of. So now tonight's book, I really want to choke her out because I know this author. Um, I've known this author for 6 years, I think, maybe five. I think it's five, or something like that. She was actually an author in one of my groups, and I knew she wrote a book, but she didn't tell me that she wrote this book. So now I read this book and I really enjoyed it. And I really feel like as an author, she has mastered the craft. And I'm so proud because it's like my author baby. You know, she's practically pretty much read every book that I've written in the paranormal and historical realms. So it's like really, really crazy. And then she winds up writing a Fae book. And I wanna choke her out because I didn't know that this was her book. And so when I got to the end of the book and I started flipping through the credits, it said her real name, and I was like, "What?" She didn't tell me that she wrote this book. And so, anyway, so she fell in love with my Fae, my paranormal Fae series, a light fairy tale, and so basically, I truly believe, like, I'm not trying to be conceited or anything, but I truly believe hers rivals mine. She did an awesome and an amazing job because I love Fae. So anyway, so now I'm going to get into this book. Okay, so tonight's book, I have to take off my glasses because I can't see up close. So tonight's book, remember, is called, I told you guys yesterday, I thought it was a YA, but it actually isn't. It's, you could say it is a NYA because the character, Lilly, is 21. So when I saw the picture of her, remember yesterday, I was saying that I kind of felt like she was young. And so, she's basically, she's 21 in the book. And so, sometimes I have, like, and then she changed the cover too. So I don't know why I didn't get the update until after I actually finished the book, and then the actual cover came in. So I'm glad I'm doing it so this way you guys can see the actual cover of this book. So this is what the cover actually looks like. It's called Lilly, and it's by Tiya Rayne. And so that's the cover. So basically, Lilly, the book does start out as Lilly being a child. This little girl right here, which is so cute, you could tell, and she looks biracial too. And so in the book, she is. So basically, Lilly is, this book takes place in South Carolina. And so Lily's mom is white and her father is black. And so in somewhere in that, when Lilly being born, the father dies. And so Lilly is pretty much raised by a white mother in the South. And so that's kind of not all that great. I understand that tension and that racial divide that you feel sometimes. And I feel like she really, really, did a good job with that. She didn't, it's there, it's in the book, and she tells you basically how Lily grew up, but she didn't harp on it. So I really like that part. And she didn't say it was one person's fault or the other. She just portrayed it as circumstances because that's how it was. I mean, when I was young, when I was a kid, I used to get beat up by both races. I would get beat up by little African American kids, little Latino kids, because I was a mixture of all of that. And so, I mean, there were times that me and my brothers, because my oldest brother, he has blonde hair and blue eyes. And then my next brother has red hair and green eyes. And then when I was growing up as a kid, I had red hair as well. And so when my parents moved to California, because I'm actually from California, then years later I decided to move to New York because both my parents are from New York. So growing up as a kid, I used to have to fight all the time because I didn't fit in. And so I remember times and times my brothers and I fighting, especially my oldest brother, because he didn't understand that he was mixed. He didn't understand that he was multiracial. So he would just scream at them, "I'm black. What's wrong with you? Why are you messing with me?" Basically. And he was like 6 shades of white with blonde hair and blue eyes. And so we had it really hard growing up, trying to fit in. And then when you become a teenager, it's like you want to be down, you want to be cool, so you try to either be so much more of one and negate the other because you feel like you gotta pick a side. When basically when my kids were born and my kids became teenagers, that was the first thing I told them: you don't need to pick a side. You need to be who you are within yourself, because growing up as a kid, I thought I had to pick a side and be one or the other. So I really like how she portrayed that, but she didn't harp on it. She showed the illness of that, the fact that kids pick on you, both races, all races. It doesn't matter because you to them are not normal, or you to them, back in our day, you to them weren't normal. What you were was not normal. It wasn't what they saw every day in their home. They either saw two white parents or two black parents or two Latino parents, but they didn't see a mixture of all of that in one person. So I like how she played that out. So Lily's father dies, and then her mom takes up with I think his name was Bubba Jack or something like that. I'm so sorry, I completely forgot his name. But she takes up with him, and he's pretty much an alcoholic, and he basically abuses Lily. So Lily is like, "I'm getting ghost." And it's like the country too. Shoot, Lily was like, "Me and my old crappy dog," because the way she describes the dog, it just I've oh my God, it's so hysterically funny. Once I spent like about 5 years down south, when I married my husband, because he's a southern man. And so I spent 5 years down there. And it so reminded her, describing this dog reminded me of a dog that he used to have. Yeah, me being in the south, that didn't work well. And so it reminded me of a dog that he used to have. And so I literally saw that dog and started laughing. And then, so she's in the woods one night, and, the assassin, because he was never given a name. I like that too. So the assassin he was just barely protecting the queen. And so what happens is he winds up getting into our realm, because he's basically trying to escape the shifter wolves that are after him. And so he's a little banged up, he's bruised, he's bleeding, he could basically die. But he needs some time to recuperate himself because he's fae, or he's fairy. I don't know if he's fairy or he's fae, or because a lot of people don't realize that fae and fairy are like two different things. Or actually, he's not. He's elven. I'm so sorry. That's right. He's elven. And so so basically he's trying to recuperate, or actually he's like in front, he's in the woods with before she actually comes over there. He's in the woods and he's with these two shifters and he's got his sword and he's ready to like fight them to the death, but he's injured and so he's bleeding. And so the shifters are like, you know, you may as well just give up the queen right now because blah 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 blah, this is gonna happen, blah 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 blah, right? And so he's like, he's holding his ground. And so all of a sudden, this little 6-year-old Lilly, like a pistol comes in and she's like, get back or I will shoot you dead, basically, blah, 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 blah. And so, so the wolves, she basically scares off the wolves, the shifters, and then because they, you know, see the gun. And so, so he like, he pretty much crumples against the tree and he's sitting there, and then she goes to talk to him and they have this whole conversation and she splits her peanut butter sandwich with him. She talks about his ears are funny, and it's just like a 6-year-old having a conversation with someone which she totally should not have been. And at one point, he actually tells her that. And then so she explains why she was running. And it's because this Bubba Jack butthole was basically beating her. And it hadn't gotten to you know what, but because of the way that the story is flowing, it at some point it would have. And so so he's just like, they're having the whole conversation, and then he tells her that, you know, she shouldn't be out in the woods, she shouldn't do this, she shouldn't do that, and then she explains to him why, and then she shows him her picture book, and then she's like, I want to travel the world, and so they're having like a full-on conversation, and then she splits like 2 juice boxes with him, and so in this whole entire time that he's talking to Lilly, he basically gets to recuperate his magic and his power. And so finally, he gives her like this little butterfly necklace. And then he tells her that she shouldn't be doing this, that she shouldn't meet strangers, and that she shouldn't be going blah, 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 blah. And so he automatically, like, instinctively has like that parental, you know, whatever. And it's so funny because he's an assassin and he's never ever felt that for anyone, not even his own people. But he feels it for like this little human girl. And so basically, he takes her home. She falls asleep. He takes her home, and then he trances her, and he's like, "Never do this again. You are a child. You won't do anything reckless anymore." And then he takes her home, and once after he puts her to bed, he goes and he finds Bubba Jack, and he basically beats his, you know what, and then he tells him, "If you ever put your hands on her again, or you do anything to her, I will come back and kill you." And so then her life fast forwards, and it's Lilly the adult. And so you get to see pretty much what her life became. And then, so she's driving home one night, and then she gets, there's someone standing in the middle of the road. And so she swerves so she doesn't hit them. And then she jumps out the car, she runs up there, and basically, it felt like a deja vu scene to her. But she couldn't remember anything because one of the things that he did was he tranced her so she wouldn't. But this isn't him. And so she takes the guy home. She, like, you know, fixes him up, all that stuff. They wind up sleeping together, and she pretty much gives him her V. And so they wind up sleeping together. And then because of the fact that it was multiple times, she winds up getting pregnant. And so basically she's just like the virgin that you know, gets pregnant. And so now she's like, my life is going to turn upside down, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now back over in the kingdom, the queen is talking about to the chosen one and the future kings. And so she has no clue where she comes from. She has no clue if she's in the realm. One of the Fae Kings is actually snatching pregnant women up so he could check to see if they are actually the ones who will be carrying these children. Or king. No, actually, yeah, it's described as kings. And so, so basically, the assassin has been watching her for the last, she's 21 now, so the last, however many years, 7, something like that. And so, yeah, my math is bad. That's one subject that I don't excel at. And so, so basically, he's been watching her all this time. And so, he started watching her like every week. But then as she started getting older, he kind of felt like he was invading her privacy. So he dropped down to 1 day a week. And so as you're seeing it, you can tell as the reader that he's in love with her. He doesn't want to admit that kind of emotion to himself. One, because he's an assassin and he can't deal with that kind of emotion and continue to be the assassin that he needs to be. And two, that's his little Lily, so he's trying not to have those insights or those thoughts about her. He's trying to remain pure. Well, she winds up sleeping with Raker, which is the guy that she helped in the middle of the street. He's one of the king's son, but he is already betrothed to someone. And so he winds up sleeping with her, and he tells her when he goes to sleep with her that he can't promise her anything. He can't even come back. Once he leaves, he will leave. And so she had a conversation with her best friend Alice like earlier in the day, and Alice was just like, "Oh my God, you're such a prude. You're this or that. Where's the fun in you?" And so she winds up sleeping with him. And it's like, you know, if I'm not mistaken, how I read it was that because of the fact that the assassin had tranced her, he pretty much told her not to take chances with herself anymore. So whatever person that she would have been, the little curious girl that he met in the woods, he changed her because he told her not to do that kind of stuff anymore. And so basically, so she winds up being pregnant by this Raker guy, this Raker Fae, and then he goes back to his world. She finds out like, oh my God, what the heck? She's pregnant. And then so one day at work, she works at a diner. She's working. She goes to get this old woman she goes to take this old woman's order, and then she touches her, and she's like, she kind of thought it was weird, but she didn't really say anything to her because she's old, Most old women are like that. Hey, baby, how you doing? Or, basically, well, hey, friend girl, And so she didn't really think anything on it. And then all of a sudden she jumps up and she materializes, and it's the witch Ophelia or something like that. I forget her name. But anyway, she works for the Dark King, the guy who's snatching up pregnant women, trying to test them. He was testing them and then he would let them go. But now he's been snatching them up and the women aren't returning. And so she works for him. And then when she touched her, she realized that she was the chosen one. And she carried the two future kings. And so basically what she did is she sent the assassin had been there watching her anyway because it was his Wednesday. And so when he saw her jump up and materialize to what she truly was, he jumped up as well, and he caused his sword to come out. And so he's basically, going to town. He's trying to kill the wolves, the shifters that are there to kill her as well. But so he doesn't get to her quick enough. And so the witch throws this ball of fire and it hits her and it sends her flying. And so she basically has a hole in her chest. And so he's freaking out because he thinks she's going to die, and then he has to take her to the kingdom. And when he takes her to the kingdom, basically, he takes her to the kingdom, and then now she starts to realize that she is their chosen, and all of the stuff that's going to come next after that. So, now, I haven't read book 2, which I will be. I could smack you, Casey, for this. Because basically at the end of the book, I'm not going to tell you the end of this one. The story does continue. And so what she does, the author gives you a cliffhanger. But I can't really talk because of the fact that the way that she hung this book, yeah, I'm batting 1,000 tonight. The way that she caused the cliffhanger to come at the end of this book, I can't say anything about it because I do the same. And so even though I want to choke her out, I'm sure a lot of readers feel the same way about me. And so I'm not going to say anything about that. But anyway, so if I had to judge this book, she would get a 4 stars because I had no clue it was her until I got to the end of the book. And so she developed her world amazing. I am so proud of her. She you can actually see it. It's like you've got some Game of Thrones, you've got some What else did I see? You got some Game of Thrones. You got some Lord of the Rings. You got all of that thrown into here. She truly develops her court and her kingdom, which is what I really like because, yeah, I'm a pump mind as well. Basically, in my kingdom, my Fae kingdom, I basically do sort of the same. I pit light courts against dark courts. But then you have people like Kellen who are he even though he is with the dark courts, his father is Roy. So Roy basically is the god of thunder, and so he's for the light courts, and Kellen is Callan's twin, and so basically when they split, Kellen went to the dark courts because of the fact that the woman that he loved was in love with Callan, and Kellen couldn't accept that, and then they got into a fight, and he wound up actually killing her by accident. And so after that, he declared himself unseelie, and so or unsheely, and so basically after that, I do the same. I had to develop each court because of the fact that you've got light versus dark. And this is what she did as well. And I see this and I like that. And then she also had immortal kings, which are basically, they're sort of human, but not because they're immortal. But they're still not Fae. So I like that part too, and the fact that they could wield magic. So she gets a 4 stars from me. And I really, really want to choke her out because I did not know that this was her book. And her book is very good. So basically, I want you guys to go out and get this book. Now, it does end on a cliffhanger, and there is a book too. Um, if I had to say anything that I didn't like about this book, because it's unrealistic to like everything in a book, no matter what. And the whole point for this channel is to give you the truth. What I didn't like is the setup between the main character Lilly and the guy Riken, the elf. I really felt, I mean, the immortal king. That pissed me off because I really felt like the fact that the assassin has watched over her entire life. They have this bond. They have this, I mean, it's amazing. Like, he feels her. He tries to like ignore all of this stuff because of the fact that she was a child and he had those father-like qualities. It kind of reminds me of my character. Yes, I'm saying it. It kind of reminds me of my character Keelik. That's how he met Katamora. She was a child. She was like 6 years old, and he was already a wolf king. He wasn't at the status that he is now because now he's lord over all wolves, and then Moki is lord over him and everyone, planetary wise. But that's how he met Katamora. Katamora was she's half black, half African, and half Japanese, and he was at a council meeting where they had sentenced his best friend to death, and there was nothing that he could do about it. He had to accept, the judgment, because back then you didn't bulk against the council because of the fact that, there's no telling what they would do, what they did to his best friend, wipe you off the planet. And so he wasn't king like he is now. And so he was upset. He was in the outer chamber and he was crying because it was his best friend. And so Katamora walked up to him and she told him, my mommy says that when you cry, your tears go up to the angels. And so he thought it was so sweet and so cute, and he pretty much, vowed for the rest of his life to look out for this kid. And so that's kind of what that reminded me of. She has him, so he has these protective father-like qualities, but he's not her father. And she's a beautiful young woman. And so he's trying to keep it seriously platonic. And so that's why it made me mad, because of the fact that he has done all of this. He's looked after her for her entire life. And then you realize that, yes, when she was little, he cared for her like as a parent, but the minute she blossomed into a beautiful young woman, well, those feelings changed, and so he's in love with her. And then to make her pregnant by, this, he kind of seems like he's a douche, this douche aristocrat king. That just really pissed me off. So if anything, I would say that I didn't like about the book, it was that. I wanted her to fall in love with the assassin. Now, I haven't read book 2, so I don't know if she does. I'm hoping that she does. So I will at some point, probably tomorrow, I'll probably read book 2 because I can do a review of it next week because I do buy indie authors. That's my whole thing. I will buy your book and I will review it on my channel myself. And so, Jen actually bought this book, and I bet you any kind of freaking money. Jen hasn't read it. She does not know that this is you, Casey. So basically, I'm gonna send her a text message when this video is over. Tell her you need to read this freaking book. It's Casey. So anyway, but like I said, this book was awesome, and I'm not just saying that because I know her, and I don't know her like, you know, hey girl, how you doing? Calling her up, that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the fact that I know her as an author. I mean, before she was an author in like the Facebook groups and that kind of stuff. And she's been in my groups and she's bought my books and, you know, I know her like that. And she's won swag prize and that kind of stuff. But I don't know her as like a, you know, like in real life. I know her from Facebook and chats and that kind of stuff. And so I'm just so proud of her even still because this book was really good. It was really good. And so I would star this book a 4 stars. And I really recommend that you guys go out and get it. If you love Fae lore and you love books like Lord of the Rings, if you like, you know, shows like what was the one show? It's a teen show. I forget it, but the main characters were teenagers, but the show itself wasn't teen. It was the entire Fae court, you know, and you got to see both light and dark, and then you got to see vampires, you got to see all that kind of stuff. Basically, if you like shows like that, then you will really love this book. And the fact that, because of the fact that it starts when Lilly is a kid and it builds the relationship from then, I really, really like that part. And so, here is the cover once again. It is called Lilly. And you know what the crazy thing is? The sweet, sweet part of this is this book is freaking 99¢. So Jen bought this book and then she sent it to me, but she had no clue. She thought it was a YA when she bought it. So she sent it as a YA to review, but technically it's an NYA because I feel like it's an NYA because the character is 21. He follows her from it follows her from a child, but then when any of the adult stuff start to happen, she's 21. So this would fall more into the NYA category, like SK's book. SK's book starts when Tabella is 17, but it's only like a couple of days that she's 17 and then she turns 18. And then that's how she's able to throw in, you know, the fact that, you know, it's a teen reverse harem, pretty much. When the book goes full on reverse harem, the character Tobella is 21 because that's one of the prophecies. She has to be sequestered with her court and her friends until she's 21 years old, and then that's when she will rule. So like that, this book takes place when Lilly is 6, but then it follows her through her life, and now she's 21. And so you guys really need to go out and pick this book up. And it's only 99¢, so you cannot freaking beat that with a stick, y'all. This is 99¢. And it is a really, really good read. And so I don't know how much the second book is, but I will definitely be buying it because I want to know what happens. She better go with that assassin. And so that's pretty much it to this review. Now tomorrow, my lovelies, we will be reviewing. So we don't have a YA, like I said when I first started the video. We don't have a YA for tomorrow. If you're a YA author out there, please, please, please submit your work to us because we would love to review you. So we're basically going to go to, we're going to do an adult read. Basically, since we didn't do a mainstream review on excuse me, my exit chick, sorry. Since we didn't do a mainstream author on Thursday like we were supposed to, tomorrow we are going to be reading Kept. by author K. Blue. Um, Let me show you the cover. It's one of those mob books, so ooh, I'm looking forward to this. I love those. That's one of my hidden secrets. So yeah, it's called Romanian Mob Chronicles. This looks good, and it's by author K. Blue. There you go. See the cover. And so that is who we will be reviewing tomorrow. We won't have a YA tomorrow. We won't have YA till next week because of the fact that we don't really have a YA author. So hopefully we'll get one over this coming weekend or, sometime next week. And if not, if we don't get one, then Jen will more than likely go on to Amazon, buy a book, read it, and then send it to me for us to do a review. So if you want your book reviewed, once again, I'm going to reiterate that for her. Once again, if you would like for us to review your book, please send in a copy, either Mobi. You can send a Mobi file. You can send an EPUB file. You can gift the book through Amazon by using our email, multicultural romance Latina. Once again, multicultural romance Latina at gmail.com. And you can basically say, attention, Jen, here's your gift or whatever. If you are writing horror, send that to Jen. If you're writing paranormal, historical, and skim of the top horror, you can send that to Ale Infante. That's me. If you're writing a BDSM, if you're writing contemporary of any kind, and you're writing erotica, send that to Erica Duque. I also do mystery and suspense too. I would love, love, love a good mystery. We did Diane Carpy, but that's the only mystery that we've had. And I actually bought that book off of Amazon myself. So I would really love mystery and suspense authors. And that's pretty much it. So those are the genres that we do review. Remember, we are no longer reviewing street hustle literature or books because basically we don't have an author. I mean, we don't have a reader who wants to read them at this point in time. Maybe we'll get one like closer in the rest of the year. We do also read LGBT. So we have no qualms with that. I loved freaking Nevi Starr and Danny Hart, I believe their last names are. I love their freaking book. It reminded me of the show Bad Boys, or The Boys. I mean, The Boys on Amazon. So no, we have no issue with reading LGBT either. Come on in, bring it on in. And so, not to mention, I have 2 LGBT children, so I have no problems with that. I am so rainbow, it is ridiculous. My son, my oldest, who is a gay man, he says, Mom, he will literally turn around and tell me stuff like, "You are so gay, Mom. Get out of my face." So I have no problem with LGBT literature. And basically that's it. So we don't do nonfiction. We don't do Christian. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I can't do the sweet romances like that. I mean, if your book is sweet, if it is a sweet romance, yes, we will review it. Where the character just doesn't want to have sex, or she wants to remain a virgin until she's married, and it has no Christian overtones. We have no problem with that. We will totally read your book. Erica will eat it up, But if it has overt Christian tones to it, yeah, no, we're not. We're not going to do that. Like the people going around saying we're all going to hell and the coronavirus is part of God's wrath on us. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. I spent 17 years married to a preacher. So, no, don't work for me. Anyway, I won't even get into that part. But, yeah, if it has Christian overtones like that and it's, or you try to overtly be Christian. We got a couple of those that Jen read and she was kind of pissed off because she was like, well, we said we won't do that. And then someone sent it anyway. It was overtly in there, but it was like it's still there. So we kind of said we don't, review that. It just makes people feel. Some people who don't like I don't knock anyone's religion because I am multicultural. So I have Native American histories, and a lot of my Native American family, they practice shamanism. They practice, the universe is basically, is your spirit guide, and you should adhere to and accept and listen to all the forces and, nature around you. So I'm not going to tell them that they're going to hell. Or I'm Afro Latina. A lot of now I don't, but a lot of I do have some relatives who are into Santeria. That's not my thing. I would never touch it. But I'm not gonna tell. That's not my business. You know what I'm saying? It's not my business to tell them. So, if your book has stuff like that, then no, we're not gonna review it. It's just our couple. So that's pretty much it. And that's pretty much it to this review. I've taken so long with this freaking review. It's like already what? Oh, it's like 50 minutes. But anyway, hopefully someone will watch this review. I feel so bad now because I just really ran her review over. But anyway, that's pretty much it. And I thank you guys for watching the channel. Please continue. If you are new to our channel, please subscribe by clicking that little button down there. And then click that little bell so every time we upload a video, it will let you know. Also, there will be it's going to be down there. There will also be a subscribe little circle down there for the channel that you can subscribe to over there. Or also down here, you can watch the actual videos of the rest of your fellow, if you are an indie author, the rest of your fellow authors, or if you are a new reader looking for a place to subscribe. We're here for you. We're here for you. Come on in. And that's pretty much it. And I will see you guys tomorrow with a new review. And remember, tomorrow we are doing regular adult fiction, not YA.